Guys, what is going on? Back at you again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. And as usual, before we get into it, none of what I say today is financial advice, and everything that I do say is my opinion and my opinion alone. That being said, let's jump straight into it today. Got a couple things coming from the ecosystem. Number one, Zai Games. Zai mentions by leveraging the Arbitrum tech stack, Zai will onboard millions of traditional gamers. Anything is possible on Arbitrum. First of all, huge shout outs to the Zai Games community, to Zai, Expopulus, Sobi. We've been, I remember when they first launched the testnet a couple months ago now. It's crazy because all this stuff feels like it just happened. They were getting some traction on the timeline. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy. I mean, everyone knows Sobi for the most part, and we're all very, very supportive of him. But man, like the intense amount of feedback, like community engagement, and everything these guys have received is insane. Almost 100,000 followers. The engagement on their posts is literally out of this world. And most recently, of course, they are part of the Binance launch pool now. So you can farm Zai by staking BNB, FDUSD, as well as TUSD. Needless to say, Zai is essentially being powered by the Arbitrum's tech stack. Zai will be a layer 3 orbit chain, using the Arbitrum tech stack, but with a huge focus on gaming, and really kind of, like I was saying before in these other previous Arbitrum ecosystem updates, like onboarding a different audience that Arbitrum does not hit today. That to me is the biggest important piece of all these different layer 2s and layer 3s that are coming out. A lot of people ask, what's the point of all these layer 2s? Like, I thought Ethereum just needed to scale, 1 or 2, 3, maybe even 3 layer 2s, right? I think it's not necessarily that Ethereum needs all these different layer 2s to scale. It's a lot more that not all these layer 2s will hit the same audience, and because of that, they will not, like, you'll never see one layer 2 kind of like onboarding everybody. Arbitrum 1 is the biggest layer 2 today, with about, I think it actually just hit 10 billion cumulative TVL, which is insane. And I think actually hit almost 2 billion in 24-hour volume, which we'll go into later on recently. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, Arbitrum 1 is extremely adopted already. And even then, there's a ton of people that will never be onboarded just because of, the consumer that it lends itself to. That's why chains like Zai, chains like Frame, Senko, like all these different chains that are being launched with Arbitrum technology, and even the ones that may be launched without them, the point of them is not to necessarily just copy and paste the tech and then all of a sudden, okay, now we just have a copy. These are completely different products that are being marketed to completely different consumers for the most part, and that's why I'm so bullish on it. It's like Sobi is, I just want to say shout outs to him again. Like, I'm very excited for the launch of Zai, the token, as well as everything that comes to them in 2024. Really excited as well, of course, for mainnet and all the other Orbit chains that'll hit mainnet this year. But on the topic of gaming, I wanted to, of course, bring this up by Yellow Panther X. Yellow Panther says 2024 is the year of Web3 gaming. Arbitrum is a sleeping giant with potential games. Here are my top 10 picks. I'm not going to go into the entirety of it, but if you are familiar with the Arbitrum ecosystem, you can see a couple of already familiar faces here. I mainly here wanted to talk about real quick about the idea that, like, people, I think when they think of Web3 gaming, right now the average person, I think, does kind of like Polygon, Immutable. I think for the most part, those two kind of chains pop up in their head when they think about Web3 gaming. In all truth, the average person, I think you're going to see a huge shift in 2023. Don't get me wrong. I know there's the different chains that are also kind of taking their hits, taking their picks, I guess, and throwing their hats into the ring to become like the next kind of Web3 gaming leader. But you'll be surprised at the amazing amount of like talent and just sheer just fun games that are launching on Arbitrum. There's already a ton that are live today, as you can see. Like, I think all of these are live today, actually, which is funny. But a lot of these are just amazing games. Like, take Web3 out of it. A lot of these are just really good games. I highly implore that you try it out. Of course, I have the link to this thread below as well. Make sure you take a look. But needless to say, like, these games are really fun. Like dungeon crawlers, FPS shooters, kind of strategy games, action adventure, like a ton of things. Like this one, I think is kind of like The Sims. Like, yeah, there's no, like, Arbitrum way back when, and even now is known as like the king of DeFi. But you're gonna see in 2024, like, it's gonna be a little encroaching. All right. All right, next we have CryptoFish X, the co-founder of Trader Joe. Yeah, Trader Joe. Big fans of Trader Joe, by the way. Shout out to those guys. They hit an all-time high in daily volume on Arbitrum, 113 million dollars in transaction fees, or sorry, volume, I should say, traded on Trader Joe and Arbitrum. Here I wanted to talk less about the trading volume because actually tomorrow's episode I'll talk a little bit more about the about DEX volume and whatnot, but more so about the proliferation of once native apps moving over to different chains. Trader Joe used to be only on Avalanche. And their first migration was actually away from Avalanche was Arbitrum, if I remember correctly. I think they moved shortly to Binance thereafter. I could be wrong, actually, so hopefully no one gets mad at me. But I'm more than positive Arbitrum was like their second deployment ever. So it was a very, very big deal. And I will say, they've been amazing. Like, they have done so much for the ecosystem ever since deploying. And while there are, like, of course, native DEXes such as Camelot and other, huge DEXes that everyone knows, like Uniswap, like, to me, I don't know, like, I love them all the same. And, especially like Camelot and Trader Joe, like both teams are incredible. I think they're both amazing. And while I'm sure they obviously see each other as, competitors, I think, I definitely think it can be the kind of environment where it's all positive sum. I'm sure people would tell me the same thing with like Arbitrum and other layer twos, which to a certain extent I would actually agree. But I definitely think, especially in terms of DEX volume on the same chain, like these guys are the liquidity layer of Arbitrum. They're the most important for people who want to use the chain. This is how you swap between tokens on the chain. So Trader Joe, Camelot, Uniswap, all the different DEXs that are out there, I think they're all amazing, and I'd love to see these guys hitting new all-time highs in terms of daily volume. It really does show us that the bull is very likely coming back. Not financial advice. And lastly, I wanted to hit today on a tweet from the Arbitrum Foundation. Happy 2024, they say. It's been an amazing year building Arbitrum together. First of all, shout outs to whoever made that graphic. Beautiful. I love how it kind of blends in there between all four of these things. But just to run through the top to see what they posted here, I won't go through the entire thing, but you can if you want. They say Arbitrum in 2023. The Arbitrum Twitter account hit over 915,000 followers, which is great. Arbitrum is worldwide with a presence in 130 plus countries through our community, ambassadors, and talent building in the ecosystem. There are 800 plus projects building in the Arbitrum ecosystem, which is insane. I think on DeFi Llama right now, it's like literally ranked second or third biggest chain by launched projects, which again is nuts. Recently passing Polygon, by the way. There are 15.6 million unique addresses on Arbitrum. And the Arbitrum Foundation has hosted 334 plus spaces with Arbitrum projects, 17 live streams, and 35 weekly Arbitrum newsletters, and more than 15 community events during the year. 334 Twitter spaces, guys. Mind blowing. That's almost a Twitter space a day. That's insane. And then, of course, 400 plus thousands of engaged individuals are building Arbitrum in the Arbitrum DAO, with 16 on-chain proposals and more than 400 posts in the Arbitrum DAO forum. Arbitrum is the most advanced L2 and the first to achieve stage 1 decentralization, according to the L2 Beat organization. Obviously, huge shout outs to the foundation, and of course, enormous shout outs to the Arbitrum ecosystem as a whole. I tell people this all the time, but it's true. Like, I totally see the Arbitrum ecosystem as the accumulation of everybody. It's not just the Arbitrum Foundation. It's not just the original builders, Offchain Labs. It's not just me. It's not just like one other person. It's literally a culmination of the builders in the ecosystem, the guys in the DAO, the people on the forums, like it's literally all of us. And I think as time goes on, we'll slowly start to see that. I was on a call earlier today with someone who's interested in being more involved in the DAO and wanting to throw more hackathons like regionally. And I remember telling him, bro, I'm like, to me, like Arbitrum literally is the Ethereum of layer 2s at this point. I think Polynia said that, or someone else had said that at some point too, way back in the day. But it's true, dude. Like, there's so much like decentralized mind share that's really, really culminating within the Arbitrum DAO and the community. And I think if you're outside of it, it's hard to see. But this is partially why I'm starting to make these videos, because I really do want people to see like the impact that people can have if they actually do want to get involved, and how vast this ecosystem is. I mean, it's pretty insane that this, I remember when no one cared about Arbitrum, and today it's literally the biggest chain by mindshare, by TVL, by almost any metric you want to count. It's pretty much one of the biggest chains in crypto. So I'm just extremely proud, and I love to see people continuing to build and scale Ethereum, with Arbitrum technology and community mindshare. And that being said, we'll end it here today again. If you want to watch, of course, Beneath the Layers, the podcast that I am currently hosting for Offchain Labs. Again, tons of different episodes about, entrepreneurship, building, companies within Web3, gaming, and soon actually another cool one probably coming next week. And a bunch of other things. So feel free to take a look. This is the Twitter account. There's also a YouTube page as well as Spotify, Apple, anywhere you want to see it. Feel free to take a look. That being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.